From Thrawn to Dantooine and everything in between. Presented by the Utini Podcast Network. Talking Star Wars Legends books, comics, gaming, and collectibles while celebrating the Star Wars EU to expand your universe one episode at a time. This is Legends Look Back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Legends Look Back. Proudly part of the Utini Podcast Network. This is a Star Wars books podcast for people who are certain that it was the Berenstein Bears, wasn't it? A podcast all about the Star Wars Expanded Universe, a.k.a. Legends. I'm your host, Jared Mays, and I'm joined tonight by the legendary co-host, prepping for Star Wars Celebration, Freddie C. I'm not jealous.
Konnichiwa, everyone. Yeah, seriously, it's a lot to think about. I see the what's at the live stage, right? The main stage, and thinking, oh my gosh, we're getting a lot of really good Star Wars, and I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. This is going to be such an interesting one. There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait for Grogu to come out there on the stage, give his one-on-one interview. It's going to be fantastic. I hope he sits in Favreau's lap. That'd be weird.
Floats into his lap or something. Yeah.
You know who else would love to sit in Favreau's lap? Our producer, Rick Grace.
Yeah, that might have been actually one of the nicest things. I'm kidding, not nicest, but one of the, I'm not even mad you said that.
He's like, yeah, actually,
yeah.
That's true. I would not mind.
Favreau he's a champ, man.
If he was wearing a Santa suit, you would feel more inclined to, right, Rick?
That would probably make it a little better, yeah. But
we'll have to pass the word to Filoni then.
I will just have a nice sit-down chat. How about that? Maybe I don't have to sit on him to chat, but just a sit-down chat would be fun. But also, it's definitely Berenstein Bears. So
100%.
Right. It is.
Not Baron.
Absolutely.
Bernstein.
What?
Yeah, Bernstein Bears.
That's insane.
That's how I remember it, but
we've all got a different memory of it,
crazy.
I think.
It drives me nuts.
That's the problem.
Berenstein, for sure.
For sure. Well, you know what's not going to drive us nuts? This topic tonight, this is a classic. I mean, how have we gone 170 episodes of Legends Look Back and not yet had a full episode dedicated wall-to-wall, front-to-back, start-to-finish about everybody's favorite Legends female Jedi, or at least, top 5 for sure. Mara Jade. Guys, cracking it open. Finally, the time has come to talk about Mara Jade.
Yes.
First and foremost, Rick, you know the origin of the name? This is right up your alley as a Bible guy.
Let's see. I can't recall hearing the story as far as where the name comes from. I will say it's pretty funny that we missed Emily tonight, and so it's the one night Emily's not here that we get to mansplain Mara Jade to everybody.
That's the title of the episode, Mansplaining Mara Jade. Yeah, no, Emily's got some personal stuff going on, and so we love you, Emily, and can't wait to have you back. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you can correct us on all of our bad opinions on this. But the story goes that, Timothy Zahn, now I'm mansplaining. Dang it. According to legend, Timothy Zahn, names Mara from the Hebrew word, which is, part of the story of Ruth. Ruth and Naomi, her mother-in-law, they've had some personal tragedy, and she says, don't call me Naomi anymore, call me Mara, which means bitter. Mm-hmm. Bitter. So Mara, she's jaded, right?
Bitter Jade.
There it is. It's right there in the name.
Wow.
And so, you got to love Timmy Z, our boy Timmy Z, for always slipping in those biblical analogies and illusions, and so forth and so on. And I hope he's... Timmy Z, that's right. His friends call him Timmy Z. I hope that he's getting a payday because something really cool has happened regarding Mara Jade. Did you guys see the news? We're a few weeks behind on this, so
yeah.
You're welcome everybody's checkbooks.
If you were even a second behind on this news, you were already too late.
Yeah.
What is it, Freddie?
Oh, well, yeah, the Emperor's Hand limited edition Legacy lightsaber has officially joined the Disney lightsaber lineup. And that happened around March 8th. And it was insane. They dropped the news, of course. It's Mara Jade. It's up there with Revan in terms of hot commodity.
Yeah.
for Legends fans.
It was a limited run.
yeah.
They only had 3,500 of them available, which I was scouting them out ahead of time, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll actually buy one. This is really cool. And then I forgot, and so I saw it in the notes. I was like, no, I definitely missed them. I don't even have to check. But yeah, between the online store and in-person parks, they sold out instantly. So
Yeah.
no hope.
I've not gotten into the collectible sabers market, which is how I convince myself to not buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I typically will buy any Legends collectible that hits the market, but this one was pricey. Cost $325. The saber itself comes in a collector box, emblazoned with a logo that combines the Empire and the New Jedi Order, and includes, now here's the kicker, an exclusive variant cover comic of Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand.
That's the nice part.
1.
I hope they
the
roll it around the
comic
blade
alone.
just to, mess with all the collectors, like something awful like that.
All of our comics collectors just crash their cars listening to that.
Well, it's crazy that $325 for a lightsaber, and get this, it does not include a blade.
Oh, well, their comics are safe then.
Well, it wouldn't fit in the box. I think the assumption here is that you've already got a blade. If you're going to be dropping $325 on the Mara saber, like you're already collecting these legacy sabers. However, I don't have any not included in the purchase, but any compatible Disney saber blade will work, but it will glow purple when plugged in, which is
How
cool.
interesting is that?
Yeah, very much so. This is the first time that an exclusive Legends character has received an official Legacy lightsaber from Disney, because they've been making these for years. In fact, these collectible ones with the comic in the box, there's one for Stellan Gios, there's one for Ren, as in the Knights of.
Well, yeah. I think there's one for Ahsoka, Cal Kestis, Ki-Adi Mundi, and you said, the High Republic ones, which is I'm glad they got some representation with Stellan Gios, man. That's pretty cool.
Now, this has some people really excited for the fact that this is the first time, Legends merchandise has been available to buy in the Disney parks. Like, you go to Galaxy's Edge, you take out a second mortgage to go to Disney, you go have a couple drinks at Oga's Cantina, you ride Rise of the Resistance, you ride Star Tours until you're throwing up everywhere, and then you get a couple more drinks. Anyway, some blue milk. That's what I mean, the blue milk.
So good, that blue milk.
Then you could go and buy a Legends collectible. And, you can't because they're gone. But, you get the gist.
That is cool.
It'd be nice to have a more static Legends representation in that lightsaber collection. That would be awesome.
So what would that look like to you? What Legends characters would you put up there? And you've got to have, an accompanying, let's say, a comic or a novel.
Luke.
Hand it all.
Now, that lightsaber is easy to do because it's just what?
It's Anakin.
Which, all right, this is part of my gripe here. That's also Mara's saber in Legends.
Yes.
That's true.
Although,
After this one.
hold
This is
on,
her starter
which is
saber.
the one where they have the wrong color? I don't remember which one that was.
Oh, that's Heir to the Empire #1.
And so,
Where
Oh, yeah,
it
that's
has
right.
blue lightsaber, should be green.
Huh.
So you could have the same hilt, the green saber, but with a blue hilt. The real kicker for that is the tank top, Luke's guns.
Oh, yeah.
But, that is part of my gripe here. People are like, Mara Jade's lightsaber, and I'm like, you normies don't know. This is only her lightsaber, in that one comic series, right? I mean, it's not even, and it's a video game.
That's the one that the Emperor gave to her, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the one Luke gives to her
That's Anakin.
it's the
So,
Legacy
hey,
saber.
you could go
Right.
grab, right now, Legends fans, go out, buy an Anakin lightsaber. You have Mara Jade's lightsaber.
Not enough people are talking about this. Yeah, go to your local comic shop, buy Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand #1, the old edition, and it will not be worth nearly as much as this exclusive collectible that I'm kind of kicking myself for not buying. But what do you think, Rick? What would be a good Legends saber and comic to add to this lineup?
Oh, Kyle Katarn.
Cool.
I don't know.
Love it.
First
Oh,
thought.
who's the one we just did in the Jedi episode? Kyle Katarn's master, his buddy. Ron.
Yeah.
Jedi Ron.
Ron
got a cool
Weasley.
Ron
No,
Weasley.
different one. This dude. He's got a six saber. Ron does. So I'm sure those will be flying off the shelf. Go and buy Jedi Ron's lightsaber.
Kyle Katarn has a nice lightsaber. It looks pretty sleek.
I would buy Corn Horns if it came with a medallion.
Oh, that you can rub.
Love it.
Right.
Collectible medallion.
That was the thing for some of the Legacy of the Force and stuff toys, is they had little medallions. They were so cheap too, like not even metal.
I guess my pick for this would be maybe it's cheating because they already kind of have this at Galaxy's Edge, but the Rancor Tooth saber, the Rancor Tooth, you've got
Rancor.
Tenno Ka. Yeah, Tenno Ka's lightsaber is the Rancor Tooth. And so you can build your own saber and give it the Rancor Tooth handle. But no collectible comic. Anyway, this is cool. We're happy to see it. And anxious to see what the aftermarket on these is going to be. But that's something that we'll have to look up in the future after the break. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by The United, the official Utini community. By joining The United, you'll not only receive ad-free shows and exclusive merch drops, you'll get unlimited access to our Discord full of enthusiastic Star Wars fans that want nothing more than to welcome you. Filled with daily conversations, weekly polls, and monthly events, The United is powered by a community of intentional positivity, and that makes it the best place for you to celebrate your fandom and engage with fans who love everything you do the way you do. By heading to utini.com/community, you can sign up for a whole year of The United and save 15% when you use code LEGENDS. That's code LEGENDS for 15% off your first year of The United. So, head over now and get signed up to check out our amazing events and connect with your favorite podcast hosts. Thank you again to everyone in our community for their incredible support. And now, back to the show.
And we're back. Guys, we're talking about Mara Jade. Everybody's favorite kind of early contribution in the Star Wars Legends continuity, of course, originating in Heir to the Empire in 1991 by Timothy Zahn. She is absolutely a fan favorite character. We're going to talk about why. What, in your mind, are the defining characteristics of Mara Jade? What makes Mara Jade such an iconic character?
I feel like there's the obvious one, which is her hair. The fiery red hair that they always describe in the books.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to go with the cat suit, but that's
there's that.
Well, instead of defining her by her physical appearance, I will instead talk about her strong individualism and her
fierceness.
Her fierceness, man. She is a threat. She is
trying to get us canceled, Rick.
I'm just saying. That's the first thing you guys said. So
she's very fierce. There's no doubt.
Fierce. But yeah, she also, I think, has the, what's it called? I don't know, like, just, she is, I can't see any of the words because they have different meanings now with the youngins. But trying to think of what I was going to say.
I believe in you. This is a podcast, and this is the time when you say what you're thinking. Very clearly for our listeners.
She is a bad butt. A bad, you get what I'm saying?
A bad booty.
I was going to say she's a baddie, but that means different things. And so, which maybe is not wrong. I don't know. It's confusing. But no, she's
no nonsense. She doesn't take any crap from anybody.
She can hold her own. Like,
right.
She doesn't need Luke, but they make a great couple.
Yeah, for sure. And to be honest, even talking about Mara Jade, it's difficult to avoid pretty massive story spoilers for Legends. I will say we will, in this episode, talk up to New Jedi Order. So we'll talk about her character progression through New Jedi Order. We will not touch what happens around about the character in Legacy of the Force. So I will preserve those spoilers for these guys who haven't gotten to it yet. But characteristic-wise, it absolutely does become Luke's Jedi wife, member of the Jedi Council. Famously, George Lucas, not a Mara Jade fan. Why do you think that is? He didn't come up with it first?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I ultimately think that George Lucas wanted Luke to be a hermit monk, in a way, or a monk. I don't think he wanted Luke to be married. I'm not sure that's ever in his plans. If you look at
Luke never marries.
Yeah, in his mind, and part of that also goes. If you look at George Lucas's history with just his things, his creativity, his
Marriage didn't
winery,
always work out for George, so maybe that's why.
his winery, stuff like that. I feel like he focuses a lot on like that. It's not really youth, but it's that strong personality that Luke has, essentially, that monkish vibe. That the Force comes before himself, so he just has no intentions of anything like that. And so I think it really just clashed with his... I'm pretty sure there was like a skit with him and Seth Green
Right.
and some others,
Yeah,
right?
that's so good.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Rick, what are your thoughts?
On Luke or Mara?
Why George
Oh, right.
was not a fan of
Um,
Mara? Yeah.
Thank you.
Get inside the brain of the brilliant, the maker.
Think the maker.
I think I agree with you, Freddie, that the monk vision is what he had, where there was not maybe nobody was good enough for Luke, since Luke was his baby, creative child, but also, yeah. I mean, I think both of what you said, like he didn't come up with the first, and that wasn't the direction he wanted to go with Luke. Just plain and simple, because it is a pretty big shift. When you make him married with a likable spouse and who's a strong character, like it does take away from Luke, arguably.
He's a family man. He's a dad.
Yeah.
By the time it all comes around, it is an interesting wrinkle for the character. Mara has a number of relationships throughout Legends. A famous one, in fact, Freddie, I believe it was on a live stream years ago. We had a fan screaming at us in the chat, like all caps, when we dared make mention of Mara's ill-fated relationship with Lando Calrissian.
Oh, that's right.
They're like, no, that never happens. Mara never dates Lando. And we're like, well, it does. Like we're not making this up. It's in some of the is it Jedi Academy? It might be the Callista trilogy. Sounds about right.
I guess I always wonder why did that need to be? The galaxy is not that small, is it? Anyway,
She's also got a fun friendship with Corran Horn. One of my favorite Mara moments is the Mara Corran Horn destruction of when they blow up Exar Kun's Force Ghost. So that's fun.
oh yeah, that's right. That was a big one. Mm-hmm. I feel like Corran's relationship with both Luke and Mara is kind of like that of a brother, just like the same level, really well trained in the Force, great guidelines to who
Don't always get along, but
don't always get along,
kind of begrudgingly respect each other.
yeah.
Yeah. She's a fierce character. She's one who, of course, in her introduction in Heir to the Empire, makes a splash. She's working alongside Talon Card. Her days of being the Emperor's hand are over, but she clearly has some innate Force abilities, though largely untapped, unrefined. Throughout the series, we see her teaming up begrudgingly with Luke Skywalker, the two of them navigating the jungles of Mirkor, continually being teamed up despite the fact that they don't really want to be. She tries to kill him. I mean, whose potential wife doesn't at some point. So eventually Timothy brings them back together in the Thrawn duology, Spectre of the Past and Vision of the Future. Then they are married in Star Wars Union. Guys, what are your favorite Mara stories? You have like a standout, whether it's a book, comic that we've read so far, something you've encountered. What's one for you that's like, this is a great Mara Jade tale?
I honestly, go ahead, Rick.
Okay.
I need to think about this for a sec.
I don't know if it's my top absolute favorite, but I remember Auntie Mara, just the way that she she takes Jaina as a Padawan kind of, and Anakin. I remember the conversation Mara had with Anakin about how he approaches the Force and how he uses it as a tool and all that, and just the way that she taught so firmly and gently while giving him space to kind of explore. Like, I just loved all that. And the dynamics of seeing her go from, I'm going to kill Luke Skywalker, and like being hell-bent on that, to just completely changing her life in a different direction and stuff. That's always fun when it's a very dynamic character like that.
Rick, you
it
mentioned
is
my
definitely
favorite.
a strong story arc.
Yeah, you mentioned my favorite moment from her, which was her sheer. It's not even dislike. Dislike is not even quite the word for her. Her moments with Luke. She wanted to thrust her blade straight into his throat. Like she hated him. Of course, we find out why she hated him so much, but
A little bit of brainwashing.
a little bit of non-consensual brainwashing.
There's a lot of non-consensual stuff in Legends.
Yeah, there's. But it was just how they had to survive on that planet with basically a threat to their force abilities. So like they had to work together to exit the situation. So her ability to work with him, but also his like, what are you doing? His sheer he didn't see. Luke does not seem to understand why Mara hates him so much, and obviously they go through that journey together. But I feel like that is the most memorable moments I have of Mara Jade. Although there's one other one that stands out, and every time I think about it, I need to go do an ab workout. I think you know which one, Jared. When she absolutely yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Oh! You're talking about the her duel with Sabayoth, where she kicks his shredded butt in The Last Command. Yeah. So you got Luke dueling
Luke,
right, and then she duels Sabayoth.
Yeah,
but then she has to. Is she the one that deals the killing blow against Luke? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Because ultimately satisfies the last command.
Exactly. She needed that. That was the only way for her to satisfy that last command.
That was the last command? I really didn't know that.
It's a double entendre.
Yeah.
Always. Timmy Z always does double entendres. The last command could also be Thrawn's last command before his untimely demise.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
No, it's great. Brilliant. I just never thought of the Mara Jade angle of her last command. That's great.
She's got some great moments for me in the new Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's kind of sidelined to a sad degree in that series with the comb spore virus. However, despite that, she has some really standout moments. You get to see that her relationship with Luke has progressed. You see that developed more in Survivor's Quest, another great Zahn title. Survivor's Quest, they're on a mission to punch some droidicas in the face or something like that. It's kind of a follow-up to Outbound Flight, but a precursor to Outbound Flight. Man, Legends is confusing. Anyway, but by that point, their relationship has matured. Obviously, their dynamic is she's fiery. Luke is dispassionate. Luke is an optimist. He's extremely he believes in the good in people. She's like, let's just go out and kick some butt. And you're too much of you believe in the good in people. You're too optimistic, altruistic. She doesn't have that altruistic side, but she learns it. She warms up from Luke. So they play off each other. It's a beautiful thing. She also does mentor her nieces and nephews. She's a great Jedi master to I'm trying to remember which students in particular she trains. Is it Jaina and Anakin? I think so.
Anakin for sure, because I want to say when Anakin passes away, she's very
affected, I guess.
Yeah, she's very affected because that's like one of her first students, if anything.
Okay.
So
yeah, and I think that training, the Master Padawan relationship is really explored well, if I'm not mistaken. And they start to run together after a while in the Stackpole duology, Dark Tide. Yeah. Onslaught and Ruin. Those are both just great for those Master Padawan duos there. So underrated. There's some other good Mara books. You got Choices of One and Allegiance, which are like she's hanging out with some stormtroopers, and anyway, some little short stories here and there. There's a guide on UT.com at the Central Mara Jade reading guide for Legends fans. So that's worth checking out if you're wanting some more titles and recommendations there. But guys, what have we not said about Mara Jade? What else do we need to discuss here? We talked about her relationship with Luke. As a husband-wife, you get the romantic relationship. How does it differ, what do you think, in your opinion, from your other, let's call them Star Wars power couples. You got Han and Leia, Anakin and Padme, R2 and C-3PO. What's the difference in the relationship with Luke and Mara?
I think it's unsaid. Their Force connection is like a power couple in itself. It's very much like, I'm sure, Jared, you put yourself in a situation, your wife glances, you feel the Force, you're usually like, oh, hold on. I feel like it's like that.
Hold on, what are we talking about, Freddie?
We all have that moment, right? Where your wife looks at you and she doesn't even say anything. You know exactly what she's thinking. You can kind of do what you need to do, make a decision, etc. That's kind of
talking about like the look I get when I shouldn't have let one loose, like a little bit of a
slips
stink
out.
The husband and wife nonverbal communication spectrum. There's just so much.
There's so much, but theirs is like amplified because they
Yes.
have the power of the Force, and I feel like you explored that connection between them a lot.
Yeah.
And kind of they almost do it too much where you don't realize it, but when you start to think about it, it's so powerful.
Then there was whatever horny New Jedi Order book we read recently that like got into it about
Destiny's Way. Yeah.
their Force connection and their intimacy as a couple, and is like I didn't need those details of how the Force works like that. But
Definitely, that's not how the Force works.
that's like how the fan fiction works.
Right. So that relationship, it's beloved. There's a lot of people, I think, who are Team Mara. I mean, obviously, a truly beloved character. Then you've got your George's, the unpopular opinion out there that perhaps this wasn't the way to go. But regardless, she's not in canon. You brought back Thrawn. People have been saying for years about Mara. We don't have Mara Jade in canon. Why do you think she continues to be so beloved among the fandom, despite being absent from Star Wars storytelling for 10 plus years now?
I think if you look at the time frame that she became a thing, right? I mean, gosh, almost all Legends, it feels like at this point. Very powerful character for anybody to look up to. And I think that really drives it. We've got Leia, who's diplomatically incredibly powerful. And then we have now Mara Jade, who's like, physically, I can beat. Granted, he is older, but he is absolutely shredded. I'm going to wash my clothes on his abs after this. And she just whoops him, right? And whoops Luke.
Power level wise,
she's
is formidable alongside.
She's an assassin.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's powerful in a different way than the other female characters of her era. Leia, formidable in her own right, but not as a Jedi at this point in time.
Yep.
It's a good point.
She's like the Crocodile Dundee of Legends.
Ooh. Wow. Rick, that was perfect.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Rick?
Just the rugged, uncouth, I did it my way. Like, I don't know, it's just Mara Jade to a T, I feel, where it's like she stands out in a room of Jedi because she's got her Empire background, her, like, assassin skills, her beauty, just all these different components that just make her, I don't know, just be a bright contrast.
Sure. Yeah, I like that she'll always speak her mind.
Yes.
For better or for worse. She'll be very blunt, whereas Luke is always trying to be nice guy, good boy, Luke Skywalker, drinking his hot chocolate. She's more of like a whiskey neat girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no doubt. Although,
Corellian.
if you look up Mara Jade, depending on which photo you get, you might get a nice one, or looks like Reba McEntire from...
I think you're talking about Shannon McRandall. That's the actor who has portrayed her in a number of photo shoots and fan films throughout the year. A beloved by many person in the fan community, but yeah, it definitely has the blowout with the hairstyle.
Definitely the Reba McEntire.
Those old school photo shoots.
I love it so much.
I can see it. Yeah. But definitely has been probably one of the most cosplayed characters. I mean,
yes.
You go to Celebration, Freddie. Oh, what's the over-under on Mara Jade's at Celebration?
Well, it depends. You get the one that George does like, the Sith girl, the Twi'lek.
Oh, Darth Talon.
Darth Talon. And then you get Mara Jade down the line. I would say Slave Leia tends to be a pretty top three. I would say those three would be the top three. Mara Jade being
if
either
Emily was
first or
here,
second.
she would be chiming in with how many men were dressed as Slave Leia at Celebration. Rick, I could see you. You could pull
I
it
would
off,
do
buddy.
it.
Hut Slayer Rick up in here.
Oof.
Slayer Rick.
Slay.
Slay. Oh, man.
Well, if it's not the take no prisoners attitude, perhaps it's Mara Jade's redemption story that has made her a fan favorite. For me, that's really the crux of Star Wars. One of the things that really makes Star Wars more than just a hobby, but a story that is worth retelling, and a story that resonates on a deeper level, a spiritual level. The redemption story in particular of Luke Skywalker in Return to the Jedi, but Mara Jade has a powerful redemption story as well. Guys, there's a number of powerful redemption stories in Star Wars. Where does her journey compare, in your opinion, to, let's say, Kylo Ren or an Asajj Ventress?
I mean, okay, Asajj is a good one. Anakin, though, is my favorite. I think that is the Skywalker saga, is the story of Anakin. Even though the sequel kind of takes that in a different direction. Kind of. He's still revered. Anyway, so she definitely would probably be in top 3, but probably not the top one. But she does have a fantastic redemption story. And again, just such a dynamic character.
Yeah, let's elaborate on it. What about her redemption story is different, and like what are the wrinkles? For me, it's the fact that before we ever encounter her, and we're introduced to her after she served the Emperor in Heir to the Empire, which we got some stories where she's serving him, such as the comic By the Emperor's Hand, but it's later that was written. We encounter her after she's left that life, but she didn't necessarily leave that life of her choosing. It kind of left her behind. Luke killed the Emperor. She's out of a job. She doesn't know the Emperor as this cruel, manipulative figure. She knows him as kind of like a father figure. The creepy grandpa. I guess. It never made a ton of sense to me, I'll be honest. But she's jaded. She's bitter. She's down on her luck. But it's not like she became a Jedi because of a change of heart. But it's her encounter with Luke that helps her to see maybe he's not all bad.
Yeah.
Are you tracking with me, Freddie?
Yeah, I am. I'm really what I sense is like what would you call it? Almost the force attraction that Luke has. Like how much of that good those good vibes that Luke's got, that he's given off, and really it seems like he's almost realistic about his perception of how things are. And yeah, she does have that last command, and it executes it, and she still has trouble aligning fully with Luke, but I think she realizes just, in Luke's eyes, it's value of life. I feel like a lot of choices are value of life, and starts to understand, like, yeah, I can dig that. I vibe with it.
Yeah, so that kind of see her point of view.
Yeah, exactly.
And see his.
And she was. You have to remember, she was in a dark world, being the hand of the Emperor, and you kind of reap what you sow. So she's jaded because of all the things that she saw, likely in her line of work. She had to. I think she had to hunt the Jedi as part of her job. So, there's a lot going on there. It checks
She's
out.
cutthroat.
Yeah.
But we also see a longer form of redemption for Mara Jade. For Kylo,
great point.
For Kylo, we see like a few seconds, a couple
Quick
Jedi
and dirty,
screaming.
he's dead.
Yeah. And then, as for Anakin, I think the difference between that is we saw him start good, and then just go this terrible path that he went towards the dark side. And his redemption was brief. It was him dying in the Death Star, saying, "Luke, you saved me. I am good. I'm gonna." That old guy that you saw in the last few revisions of Star Wars, it's not him anymore. It's the old me because I'm Anakin.
Tell your sister you were right.
Uh,
Okay, great point. Both of them, Kylo and Vader, very, very, very quick redemption.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be a long time coming, but then we don't get to
Savor
live
it.
with them.
Yeah.
Redeem. Mara's is a much more slow burn. I like that.
I think also when you look at a lot of the former Imperial agents who joined the rebellion or who no longer have the option of being Imperial, she was a victim, like Tycho.
Right.
He did terrible things with the Empire, whatever, but then he leaves on his own accord. And like we talked about, she was brainwashed, she was used, she was her view of reality was distorted, and so
survivor's guilt.
yeah,
Yeah, she was weaponized as a tool of the Emperor.
exactly.
It's not like she was a Sith who turned to the dark side because of her own, inner demons and her choices.
Yep. And so, and like you said, we get to unravel that. She has emotional depth that some of the other, former Imperial agents don't really get as much of. And I think there's something about her being a female character that goes through this, where her emotions
Right.
are more at the forefront of how she's described. And even though she's pretty stoic, you just feel the depth of her hurt a lot of times.
Yeah, and we should acknowledge that as men, her story will not resonate with us in the same way that it would.
Sure.
I remember Cheryl on an episode of this, Freddie, back when we were doing the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah.
Loved the story of Mara Jade, particularly as she has to overcome her trauma.
Yeah.
And I think there's a certain feminine element of that that, we need to acknowledge
Yeah, totally.
that we're three dudes, though it's
Right.
a bit of a joke
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah. Yep.
There's a serious level of this.
Absolutely.
As well. And I think Mara Jade then becomes such a powerful symbol for fans who gravitate toward morally complex characters. We're not going to say, morally gray, but very, very morally complex. Her morality system is very much colored by her experiences. Her altruism does not match that of Luke's. Luke's always trying to redeem people, and she has to tell Ben later on, once we get to Legacy of the Force, you guys we'll see some of this unpacked later. Luke's view of just always trying to redeem everybody doesn't always work. She's like, it worked on me, but it doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. Is it? Guys, if you were to reintroduce Mara Jade to modern Star Wars storytelling, this has been a hot topic lately. How do you imagine fitting her into the current timeline? So we're taking the Disney canon here. All right, bear with us, Legends listeners. We know a lot of you are also tapped into the current ongoing Star Wars storytelling. What's your way of fitting her in? The shoehorn. One that I'm fond of is the Inquisitor theory. The Inquisitor theory that Mara Jade is hunting Jedi, like Freddie said. So she's one who's kind of subservient to Vader in a canon timeline, and then survives that era to then kind of be out on her own and encounters, a new Jedi Order temple, Luke. There's a lot of theories. Do you guys have any of your own? How would you make her fit? We're thinking Thrawn here, right? Thrawn, he's back in canon. What if Mara got the Thrawn treatment?
I think I'd like to see Mara. Oh, man. I'm really 50-50 on this because I feel like we've got two, and it's so tough because, well, anyway, that's a different story. But ultimately what I'm trying to say is there are two versions of, I think we get the whole thing of Mara, in my opinion, in Legends. Maybe not in live action, that's a difference, but in terms of books and stories, I feel like we get the whole picture.
Mm-hmm. I kind of feel that, like, I don't want her in canon,
In a way, that's how I feel.
You want to keep your toys on the shelf to play with yourself.
I do feel like if they do introduce her, I would like to see her on the rooftop with a sword that you see from far away, and then you get close, blood dripping right off of it.
Oh, you want something brutal.
She slaps it. She slaps all the the blood off the knife, puts it right in her sheath. I want to see the assassin.
Yeah, that's the show.
The
right
Emperor's
there, the
Hand.
Emperor's
Yeah.
Hand. Like kind of like a gritty Daredevil.
Yes, I'm saying the same thing. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't think about that. That's a pretty good idea. Again, if I had to, I still would think I'd prefer just to leave her in Legends and let her have her glory there. But I would put her at the in between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, and have her have a life with Luke, but then she dies in the fire that Kylo Ren and like the whole.
You sadist.
I know, like I would have her.
We just got her back.
retconned.
You're already killing her.
Yeah, like motivation for Luke's development to a hermit and a grumpy old person that he is in the sequels.
I have heard that, like the theory that she is a part of his trauma for why he is as jaded as he is in The Last Jedi. Like perhaps, what if the night that he's, they were talking about this on the Utini show recently. Shout out the Utini show. What if, right before Luke, has his ill-fated night of his failed assassination attempt on Ben Solo, what if Mara had just died like days or weeks before that? What if he was fresh in his trauma, his grief? I can see it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense. So, Freddie, what's the over-under on a Mara Jade introduction and celebration here in a couple weeks?
Oh, man.
You got Filoni, you got Favreau. They're on stage. It's like, we got the Heir to the Empire is the name of the movie, and we brought her back. George didn't want us to, but we've got Mara Jade. What's the over-under?
Honestly, I'm not even sure where to post any of this yet. There's so many different platforms to post on this on, but the second I see it, I feel like I'm just going to say Mara Jade, all caps, send it, be the first to announce it. Let's see. We'll see. But that'll be my cue.
So who would we cast? That's just a freebie.
Keanu Reeves.
No, Freddie. I've always thought Jessica Chastain, but she might be too nice. She's in The Martian, but she's like a light redhead.
Yeah.
Mara for me is like a darker
Yeah.
redhead. But I mean, I guess the hair color is not the biggest thing as much as like the ethos.
Right.
Who's that D? Is it Marvel? I think it's Marvel. Not in the movies.
Scarlett Johansson.
No, not Scarlett Johansson.
Karen Gillan.
I'm not sure. She plays. I'm trying to think of the name. It's like right up there with. Is it DC? I can't tell who it is now.
Jeff
I'll have to look it
Goldblum.
up. Jeff Goldblum. There you
That's
go.
it. Jeffrey Goldblum.
As Morrow Jade,
Well.
Luke's best friend to come. He doesn't even know it's going to be his best friend yet.
I don't know where you're going with this, Freddie.
Yeah.
No, I don't know either. I'm gonna have to think.
I'm gonna have to
There's
think.
It's hard to nail it. Yeah, let us know, listeners, in the Discord. Let us know. What are your thoughts? Who would you fan cast?
Jessica Jones. There you go.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah, she's definitely got that, like, I'm over it attitude.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
whoever you cast as Mara Jade, you have to follow up with Kim Possible. Same person, whoever that's going to be.
That's fair.
Kristen Ritter is her name.
Okay, there you go, Kristen Ritter.
Yeah, fantastic. Love that choice, Freddie. Absolutely.
I'm looking up actresses right now. We can move on if you need to. I'm still just focused on this, though.
We're going to be 10 minutes into the next segment. You're just going to yell out a name.
Exactly how it's going to work.
Fantastic. Well, recently we had the Legends Disney lightsaber announced, but that's not the first Mara Jade merch there's ever been. If you were to add a Mara Jade related piece to your collection in the next segment of Thraken's Thrift Store, what would it be, guys?
Oh, I want to see what they've got in Japan.
Oh,
Wow.
It'll be
what, like
interesting.
fan art?
Well, in terms of maybe statuettes or fan art or something Mara Jade related. Because
Yeah, you do like the statuettes. There was a Gentle Giant booth at Celebration, the one that we went to.
yeah, they had a bust, a Mara Jade bust.
Right, yeah, there's the 1/6 scale Gentle Giant mini bust, released in, what was it, like mid-2000s, late 2000s. Showcases Mara Jade, their lightsaber. I've not seen this one like out and about. It must be really high-end, rare collectible.
Yeah. The fun thing about Gentle Giant and Sideshow, they both have like their museum that you get to walk through because their stuff's too expensive. They don't sell it at the show. Those are fun. But yeah, there's a lot of other ones. I think the ones that you and I have, right? We've got the Hasbro Black Series, the 6-inch.
I'm trying to remember if I have that one.
I believe it's the one that also has the comic, right? Comic book.
Oh, yeah, the big box. Yeah, with the 4-pack.
Yes.
Yeah, it came with Sabayoth.
That's right.
And you got Luke and Luke and Mara Jade. Right. Yeah, that one's recent. That one's fairly easy to get your hands on. That's a cool piece. That big box, and it's got the comic art on it.
Yeah.
Love that. Now, I think it was just like late 2000s that they were doing the comic packs.
Oh, yeah.
They would like come with 2 action figures and a comic book. I've got some of these from like the Legacy comics. These have become really valuable if you've got the right character. If you get the one with Darth Crate, I mean, that one will set you back hundreds. But
yeah.
I think there's Luke and Mara in a comic pack. Does that sound right to you?
It does. I think it was... Okay, Star Wars number 10. Is that comic pack number 10 or whatever?
Okay, it's got Heir of the Empire number 5.
Oh, okay.
Holy smokes, yeah.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. Oh, man. I looked it up on eBay.
Yeah, they used to have all these Rick at Hastings back in our alma mater, our hometown there. All those comic packs in like the late 2000s. I should have bought them all.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
At retail price, and instead I was like buying corn dogs at Sonic.
That's how I got into Star Wars Armada, was when Hastings started going down. And they started selling everything for dirt cheap, and I just like bought it all.
Dirt Cheap, that's another store in our alma.
That's right. What was that bookstore where you could buy books by the pound? What was that called again?
Oh, the Twilight Graveyard? This was great. There was a gigantic crate, Freddie, with like 200 copies of Twilight books. But they weren't stacked. They were just like heaped haphazardly into a gigantic crate. It was hilarious.
Oh, man. That sounds like a dream, though. I would love to buy books by the pound.
Well, we sorted through a couple dozen Star Wars books, right, Rick?
Yeah, I found some good ones.
We found a Bakura in there, possibly.
We definitely need to do a Kathy Tyers tribute of some sort eventually.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. But first, with the action figures, one other Mara Jade figure that I would like to get would be the Power of the Force figure from the 90s. Probably 98, I think in the late 90s. There was a release of figures that were expanded universe. We're talking about the era of Star Wars when that's all there was. I've got some of these. I think I've got a Thrawn, Freddie. I bought it with you from this. They've got the green packaging.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've got the Mara Jade, though, but there is one from the Power of the Force, late 90s era Legends figures. So that would be one to be on the lookout for.
Yeah.
When we do our meetup this summer, we're going to go to a Star Wars store, Rick, in your area, the DFW area. You've probably been
the
there.
Holocron store or whatever.
Holocron. Yeah, this is top of my list.
I want to go.
Figures that I'm looking for.
It's like an hour 45 for me, I think, but worth it.
And this is in Dallas?
Do it.
Fort Worth.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna
store.
We're all going. You're going. Nobody has a choice because just like Mara Jade didn't have a choice to serve the Emperor, you don't have a choice, Rick. You have to come.
Okay.
It's gonna be great. Guys, I think we've covered our bases here with Mara Jade. What do you think? What are we missing?
She's pretty awesome.
Love Mara Jade.
And if they bring her back, I'm not mad. I'm not going to be mad at all.
Yeah, the same.
Well, the question is, if they bring her back, can they preserve really what made the character what she was? And I think for me, a big piece of that is her relationship with Luke. That that story arc, as we've talked about, it's a slow burn. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
It really burns throughout the entirety of the 90s. You know, Heir to the Empire is 91. They don't get together until Vision of the Future, which is, 98? Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So that to me would be a big piece of it. So we will wait and see. But we have some more stories that we are going to be reading soon, featuring Mara Jade, as we conclude our new Jedi Order coverage within the upcoming months. If you're wanting to follow along at home, we are currently reading the Force Heretic trilogy. We'll have our next Legends book roundtable about that trilogy. How are you guys doing your read-through so far? You making it? It's a slog.
Behind.
Is it because of the content, or because we're slow readers? Because
Yeah, I'm just
sure,
in a slump.
might go abridged.
I would not blame you. They're not my favorite Legends books, but there's some important things that happen. Definitely some important things. And Freddie, the second book goes back to Bakura, so there's that. There's
I'm
that.
excited.
But it's coming up. It's coming up. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Legends Look Back. If you're looking for other podcasts to expand your fandom, be sure to check out the rest of our lineup in the Utini Network, including The Cosmic Force, the Star Wars Archives, the aforementioned Utini Show, the Utini Canon Book Club, and, of course, Retro Roundhouse.
Absolutely. Thank you to the proud members of the United. A special thank you to Brian Dooley, Carl Sander, Anthony Shulo, and Michael Fry on our High Council for their amazing support. If you would like to join our amazing community of like-minded fans who are eager and excited to talk Star Wars Legends any time of day or night, visit utini.com/community.
And if you'd like your thoughts read on the show, email us at legendslookback@utini.com. We're also on X at legendslookback. Let's keep the party going and hop over in the United Discord, where we are continuing the conversation with other Utinians about this week's episode in the Legends Look Back channel.
All right, that's it for us. Keep exploring, keep sharing, and let's keep on expanding the universe together. May the Force be with you.
This has been a Utini Network production. Be sure to check out utini.com for everything Star Wars in one place. Powered by a community of intentional positivity. Thanks for listening, and may the Force be with you.